Welcome to the DeepInside Channel. In today's video, we will discuss how to control negative emotions and how to manage our minds. Our mind naturally tends to exhibit negative emotions and thoughts. These negative thoughts, such as anger, desire, lust, or jealousy, perhaps even resentment, are what our minds like to indulge in. So, how can we control them? The Buddha introduced us to a gradual method of practice, where we can learn to control these negative emotions or thoughts within our minds. First and foremost, before we delve into these steps, there's one thing you need to practice and one thing you need to master, and that is awareness. If you aren't aware of your thoughts, if you're not mindful of them, then you can't control them. Therefore, you must fully understand and be completely aware of your thoughts. So, whenever you become aware of your thoughts, you will have the power to control them. Here's the first step. The Buddha teaches that whenever you become aware that your mind is dwelling on negative thoughts such as anger or desires, or resentment or jealousy, the first thing is to redirect your thought pattern to something positive. There are positive thoughts within your mind that bring peace, like reflecting on a good deed you've done in the past, such as helping someone. Whenever you focus on that thought, your mind becomes joyful and peaceful. Thus, the Buddha says, redirect your thoughts to positive ones. If the first step is not effective, then you move on to the next step. What is that? The Buddha teaches us to think about the drawbacks of harboring negative emotions. If you're constantly filled with angry thoughts, you must realize that these thoughts harm both yourself and others. If I act on these thoughts, they will hurt both myself and others. Remember, it might be a small seed of anger, but if it grows, what will happen? It will become destructive. So what should you do? Reflect on the limitations or disadvantages of these negative thoughts. Then, whenever you recognize these drawbacks, your mind will naturally want to avoid them. Most of the time, we are not conscious of these disadvantages. So what you should do is think, if I continue to harbor these negative thoughts, they won't benefit me, they will disrupt my peace. That is the second step. The third step is as follows. The Buddha says to pay no mind, to give no attention. If the second step is ineffective, proceed to the third step, to pay no attention to the negative thought. Right? See, whenever we focus too much on something, such as a thought, it expands. It grows more and more. For instance, if you're angry with someone and if you ruminate over it again and again, that anger will intensify. So what should you do? Allow the thought to be just that, a thought, without giving it too much attention. When you refrain from paying attention, it will gradually fade from your mind. It's like this. Have you ever seen how toddlers cry when they fall? If the parent realizes it's not a big deal and doesn't fuss over the child, what does the child do? He just moves on, he stops crying. The same applies to our mind, if we don't dwell on the thought. If we don't care about the thought and let it pass from our minds, it will diminish. That is one way to do it. The fourth step. If the third step doesn't work for you, then the Buddha says to proceed to the fourth step, to relax your thought process. Now, remember when you harbor negative thoughts, your mind becomes very busy, very agitated, and unfocused. So, what you'll do is question why you are indulging in these disruptive thoughts. These are the negative thoughts that keep you busy and unfocused. So, what are you going to do? You will soften and refine your thought process, perhaps with feelings of love, empathy, or gratitude. When you adopt these thoughts, when you adopt more positive thoughts, your mind and your thought process become much more tranquil. Persist in doing this every time you dwell on negativity, at least for 28 consecutive days, and gradually your mind will become accustomed to it. Whenever negativity arises, your training will also instantly manifest. At this point, instead of bad outcomes, you will be greeted with peace. You have already begun to control a part of your mind. This concludes the video. Strive to perfect these 4 methods, and you'll discover that your life will change significantly for the better. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to motivate me to share more knowledge. Goodbye.